Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for another episode of Deconstructing the Narrative. My name is Erica Seha. I am your host, and I'm also a content creator with SADA Collective. And today I have with me Ryan. How's it going, Ryan?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. Thank you for joining us today. Sweet. So just to start, we always just kind of get the background on our artists. So can you just let us in on what you do and what your role in the creative industry is right now?
Yeah, for sure. So what I do so many things. I'm honestly kind of nervous. This is my first podcast ever.
No worries. Take your time.
Yeah, so I'm from Utah. That's where I was born. I live out here in Pasadena. As far as like art goes, I mostly do like abstract paintings, and then like my main art is acting. I've been doing that since I was like 10 years old. And I do some modeling here and there, but for the most part, I mean, everything is so slow right now with coronavirus, but before all this, that's what I was doing mostly.
Awesome. And kind of diving deeper into, I guess, both your painting and your acting. I kind of want to, dive a little bit deeper into both. Can you give me a background on like the journey for both of those, and I guess how you kind of ended up choosing those paths and what those are looking like for you now? What kind of acting are you doing? What kind of painting are you doing as well?
Yeah, so for my acting, I started acting when I was like 10 years old, and I was doing like theater, lots of plays, and I'm from Utah, so they were all like religious plays, right? And so it was like a lot of fun, and I was really into it, and I was getting like really good roles as like a 10-year-old, and then I kind of like just started going towards that because I had, how do I say this? Like I had a very privileged childhood in the way that like I'm blonde hair, blue eyes, like I come from a good family, but I had a lot of trauma growing up, like in the church particularly, and just like, like everyone goes through stuff. And so I ended up going into acting more because at first I just loved to not be myself, to be other people. And that was like the initial thing that got me into it. And so I was doing my acting, and I was doing it all through high school and all through college and everything. And then I moved out here and I started like doing coaching and stuff. And I would tell them, I like to act because I don't want to be myself. And all of my teachers were like, bro, that's like some trauma shit. You got to figure that out. Right. And then, so eventually I started like, getting more into like telling stories and doing stuff like that, finding other reasons than just not wanting to be myself, for acting. So that's kind of been like my biggest journey with acting. With painting, it's always been just a way to express myself. I don't really do very much realism. I do a lot of abstract expressionist. And if you check out my Instagram, you can see it's a lot of colors and stuff, and it's mostly just how I feel, that's just what I put out on the canvas.
And so,
yeah.
Oh, sorry. And so just, I guess, diving deeper into that, because the next question is kind of geared towards, what your narrative is and what, your story is that you're trying to portray with your art. So how does everything that you're kind of describing now play into that narrative that you're trying to portray with both your acting and your painting?
So much. For my acting particularly, like it's so hard to not express myself, and so acting is amazing because you get the opportunity to really like be free and to live in emotion. Like in the everyday world, you aren't allowed to really like express emotion like fully, like how you feel, like people put you on World Star, like whatever it is, but with acting, like that's what you have to do, is you have to like portray emotion. And that's what I love. That's what, and it feels good for me because I get to like let some stuff out, but I love just expressing myself, to be honest. And with my paintings, it was always stuff that like I needed to say, like I needed to get out of my body, out of my physical, and onto something else. And so that's what painting has always been for me. And lots of people don't like my artwork because it's like, usually when I am painting, it's just like I just get in this like state of mind, and I just like go crazy on the canvas, you know. And lots of people are like, you know, they just have their criticisms. But so far, I think, did I answer that question?
Yeah, definitely. And are there any like particular like inspirations that you have in terms of like painters or people that you look up to that you can kind of compare your work to, and like your, I guess, method of painting too?
Yeah, my biggest inspiration is Jean-Michel Basquiat.
Okay.
Yeah, he's my absolute favorite. I love him. I've read like several biographies about him, watched his documentaries and stuff, and I think I do try to like copy his style and like his work a lot, because his artwork just speaks to me so deeply. And so yeah, lots of time when I am painting, I am watching like anime or doing something else at the same time, you know. I mean, not every time, but a lot of the time. Some others that inspire me, of course, Pablo Picasso. I love him as well. Yeah, Van Gogh. I just really love abstracts. Anyone abstract. Yeah.
And what about actors?
Actors. Oh, lately I've been really inspired by Timothée Chalamet. You know, he's a young kid, but he I don't know, like he's so beautiful and his emotion is so just pure, I feel. So he really inspires me. Yeah, I like I can remember her Instagram handle is like Bring, but she's a non-binary actress. She really inspires me. Oh, fuck, what's her name? I can't remember her name, but I'll like send it in the email or something later.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Share that with me, definitely. And I guess moving on, what is you know, do you have any like specific like moment in like maybe your childhood or your upbringing, or just any like really like pinpoint pivotal moment that you've had that has inspired your work, or even a specific piece or a series, or I guess just like anything that you've done creatively? Has there been like one moment, and can you share that moment with us in like a story form?
Yeah, definitely. So like I said, I was raised Mormon in Utah, and when, you know, I was big in the Boy Scouts when I was growing up, and you know, unfortunately, like so many other boys, I was molested in the Scouts. So I have several pieces that are like, one of them is called "You'll Never Be Perfect." It's on my Saatchi art profile. I don't think it's on my Instagram, but yeah, it talks about that. You know, which is what it is to kind of like go through that, and how I felt like coming out of that, you know.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. And I think it's really amazing that you were able to take something that was so traumatic and turn it into, you know, or find a way to express it through your art. And I'm not sure how touchy it is, but can you kind of give a background into kind of how it affected your process when you were painting? And I guess like how was it, like an emotional experience, or was it just like freeing for you to kind of be able to paint that and get it all out?
Yeah, it was pretty freeing. I battle with a lot of suicidal thoughts and stuff. So, you know, at first when I was molested, I was under the impression that it like wasn't a big deal, you know, that it like didn't matter, you know. However, the child brain protects itself. And you know, as I got older and it was like sitting inside me longer and longer, it kind of like built up. And lots of times, like really late at night, sometimes I just have like panic attacks, you know, anxiety attacks. And so this was one of those nights, and I had my blank canvas in front of me, and I just smoked or whatever. And I just had my Sharpie and my paint brushes, and I just like, I knew that I needed to put something on the canvas, but I couldn't, like nothing was like in my mind. I didn't have like a picture. So I just started writing like, let it out, let it out, let it out. And then I wrote that just over and over and over until and then it just like exploded out of me, and I got this gorgeous painting.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And do you have any like advice, so far from your journey of kind of, overcoming this that you could, lend to anybody who's gone through any trauma, in terms of like utilizing art as a form and any ways that, you could lend as advice or help for people who have gone through trauma and who are trying to use creativity as an outlet?
Yeah, so my very first advice would be to go see a therapist. That's
Yeah.
what really like art can help with that stuff, and it can be art is like a gateway into your subconscious, but if you don't seek like professional help, a lot of the times it's just going to continue to be more harmful to yourself than it is going to
Definitely.
help, and some great pieces can come from that, but my advice is just to get professional help and always continue creating, but don't rely on pain to create, because that's just painful.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess kind of moving over, since your pieces are so, in depth and have such a narrative behind them and have, they resemble your pain and everything that you've gone through. Have you had any pivotal responses or any like specific responses that have really just been moving for you, to any of your pieces? Definitely based off of the narrative that they're portraying. And who was it and what did they say? And was it helpful in any way?
So my paintings, I should say, it doesn't really get that many responses. Not very many people have the opportunity to see it because I don't post all of it on my Instagram, just a little bit. But with my acting, it was 2019, I think, 2018 or 2019. I was in a short film, and it was by this amazing director. Her name is Mackenzie Hart. She lives in the LA area, and it was about like rape. It was about sexual assault in today's society. And this was super interesting because I got to play like the bad guy, and I always think bad guys are like Darth Vader is super cool, like I always wanted to be like a bad guy. So I was pretty excited that she cast me as like the bad guy. And obviously the film didn't have anything graphic in it. It was nothing like that. We were at a laundromat, and it was just me like going up to her and like being one of those creepy guys that you see at the laundromat or like at the gas station, anywhere. And it was so much fun to work with that team, and everyone was so great and professional. And then she submitted it to the Hollywood Fringe Film Festival, not the Fringe, the Hollywood Shorts Film Festival, and we won best shot on camera.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, that felt like a pretty pivotal moment. Like I was able to bring, I don't know, like because we won, that means lots of people were able to see it, and so it felt good to be able to bring light to that kind of, so to some people it might not seem like it's a big idea to go hit on the person at the laundromat or the gas station, but it is a big deal, So yeah, that was pretty pivotal to me. I really felt like I was doing good with my art. Sometimes it doesn't feel like I'm doing a good, well, I don't know. Never mind.
Like telling your story.
Yeah.
In the way that you want.
Yeah,
that's amazing. Yeah, and the fact that it related so much to the trauma that you went through and that you were able to touch so many people with it, I feel like that was probably really, big for you. Yeah. That's awesome. And what do you have any like I guess long-term goals, especially with your narrative that you would like to accomplish, in terms of like, is there like a specific amount of people you want to reach or a specific story that you want to tell? What is like the message that you want to leave with the things that you do, whether that be through your painting or through acting?
I think what I want to, I don't know how many people I will reach. I hope it's as many. I hope it's a lot, but I think what I really want to tell people is that like, no matter what happens to you, no matter where you come from, like, you can always do what you want and you can do great things. That's what I want my long-term story to be, is very motivational, I guess. But that's because, you know, if you really believe, if you have that feeling inside you, then you can do anything you want, and you can't let your surroundings or, you know, anything get in your way.
Definitely. Definitely, yeah. And you know, kind of moving over, I kind of want to talk to you a little broader about what you think an artist's role is in society. Like, what do you see, like our purposes as creatives, like in this time? Because I really feel like, you know, we've been talking a lot with all of our artists about the fact that, you know, art has really penetrated absolutely every area. And we kind of want to get a gauge of how each of, you know, our creatives that we're speaking with feel about that, and kind of how you view the artist's role in society as a whole.
Yeah. I mean, art is so big. Art is so powerful. I think it's the artist's job to really question everything. Like, the society we live in, like, we got to question capitalism, we got to question our leaders, we got to question everything. And what really makes a society is the art that comes from that society. And that's what's really remembered about that society. So, you know, it's our job to tell the stories. It's our job to, like, just show what we go through, what it is to be a product of this society, you know? And so that's really what I think, you know. And it's also our job to, like, make money and to get paid, but that comes hand in hand with, you know, asking questions and just doing what you feel you need to do, I guess.
Definitely. And I guess moving over a little bit from that, what is something that you mentioned you've been doing acting a long time, so I kind of want to touch a little bit more into that. And, you know, what is something that you've learned now, like where you, and, you know, with where you are in your acting career, that you would have, like, lended as advice to your younger self, like something that you wish you knew back then that you know now?
Oh, I've never thought about that, like, at all. That's a good question. If I had to give my younger self advice, definitely don't get discouraged. Like, it's so easy to get discouraged when you go into an audition and you crush it, you know, like, you're off book, you're crying, like, you're doing the whole thing, and they just don't want you, you know. And it's not your fault. Like, at that point, like, it's not your fault. You gotta, like, every time I go into an audition now, if I don't get it, it's not my fault. Like, they're probably looking for someone with green eyes, or they probably want someone who is a darker complexion, you know, like, whatever it is, you know, the person they cast probably has connections with them, or, you know, but it's just not, like, that's what I would say, is don't get discouraged. Like, it's such a tough game, and, like, you just got to keep, if you love it, you just got to keep doing it. And, like, even just love auditioning. It's nerve-wracking to be in the audition room, but, like, you got to love it. And so, yeah, I would just don't get discouraged and go for absolutely everything, like, everything.
Yeah. And do you have, like, a specific, like, moment you can think of, like, kind of, you know, pegging off of that, of, like, a moment of doubt, maybe where you had an audition and you, like, just, like, doubted yourself, and, like, how did you overcome, I guess, that? And you know, I guess that would kind of lend us advice too, but, you know, any moment, can you tell us, like, a story of, like, any moment where you were just like, oh my gosh, like, I shouldn't be doing this anymore, and, like, how did you overcome that part and, you know, stick with acting and kind of pursue it to where you are today?
Definitely. Yeah, basically almost every time after I'm done auditioning, I'm like, holy cow, I made such a fool of myself in there. But I mean, you know, it's just the nerves. And I'm trying to think of, like, a specific time, but actually I'll tell you right now, the time. So when I was auditioning for the laundromat role, I was in there, and I was alone in the waiting room. I was, like, the last person they were seeing. And I had my headphones plugged in, and I was just jamming. I was, like, jumping up and down, like, you know, just listening to hardcore EDM, you know, head bobbing. All that. Yeah. And then I, like, look up, and the director's, like, staring at me in the doorway. And she's like, we're ready. I was like, oh, cool, great, you know. So I go in there, and I already felt like an idiot, you know. I'm, like, bright red, like, So I go in there and I was like, whatever. Like, they already think I'm an idiot. So I'll just continue to put myself out there like I was. And I did. And I was like, my face was like twitching and stuff. And I just like, I didn't care how I looked because they already saw me at my like worst. So it was just, and I walked out of that audition. I was like, there's no way they're going to cast me. Like, I was jumping up and down, like I was doing all this crazy stuff. And then she called me and she was like, hey, we're going to cast you. And I was like, for real? And she was like, yeah. And it's because my face was twitching and because I was jumping up and down like that. That's what they love. That's what made me stand out. And so that's just something that I try to remember about every audition I go into now. It's like, they want to see art. They want to see something like exciting and cool and fun. Even if it's weird, like it's better than being normal. That's right.
Yeah, definitely. Weird is cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, cool. And then I guess, moreover, just like kind of to wrap things up, is there any form of advice that you would lend to maybe any creative, maybe not necessarily just in the acting industry or the painting industry or anything, just as a creative in general, who is new and entering, the creative industry as a whole? What is some advice you would lend to them, in order to navigate through the creative industry as it is today?
Yeah, definitely. So definitely keep yourself around people who inspire you. And, it's so easy out here, especially in Los Angeles, like everyone is so creative, but there are lots of people who let the drugs and let the parties and stuff take the lead over being creative. And so just stay wary of those crowds, because like, if you do get trapped inside of that, it's not going to be good. My next advice would be to definitely to see a therapist. To be honest, that's that's been something like I've been doing that for so many years, and for me to really like express myself, I have to be comfortable with myself, and I have to like understand what's going on in my head and with my emotions and stuff. And so seeing a therapist might be a little bit expensive, but it's what you get from it is invaluable. What I get from it, at least.
Yeah, I think that's good advice, especially even if you haven't gone through trauma, to just be able to talk to somebody who has no like connection or no, it's just completely unbiased. I think that helps, just like it's for a healthy mind, and I think especially as artists, like we often keep things to ourselves. And I think I like what you said earlier about not pain is obviously leads to good pieces, but it also isn't don't rely on it, and I think that a lot of the times artists do we rely on the things that hurt us to create what we do. But I think that also your mental health is important, and taking care of yourself is important, and being able to talk through those things, and you can still tell your story and tell the story of your pain without having to be suffering through it, so I think that's really great advice. Awesome. Well, Ryan, thank you so much. It was so fun talking to you. Oh yeah, I do have a last question. Kind of a question we've been asking everyone. Do you have a favorite song right now? Can you share with us?
Oh yeah. Machine Gun Kelly.
Yes.
Yes. Can't Look Back on his new album. I love that song. Can't Look Back, Machine Gun Kelly.
Sweet. Yeah, I want to make a huge playlist at the end of this series and have everybody's music on it. It's gonna be all over the place, but it's great.
Wait, tell me yours. Tell me your favorite song right now.
My favorite song, I don't know do you know who Rufus Du Sol is?
No, I don't.
No, they're an EDM. Well, they're not really EDM. They're more house music, but you should look them up. They're really good. Inner Bloom is always good. You should check them out. My favorite artist ever. Yeah.
Inner Bloom.
Rufus Du Sol. Bloom. It's good. Yeah, that'll put you in your feels.
Sweet.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us and for telling your story, for being so vulnerable. I think it's really good that to talk about trauma and to kind of talk about the things that have hurt us and how they impact the way we create. And I think that you being able to share that makes you really strong. So I really appreciate you doing that.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Of course, yeah. And do you have any sort of social media or Instagram or email where someone who's watching, if they have any questions or just want to chat with you, can hit you up at?
Yeah, for sure. If you want to buy any of my products, you can go to my website, ryanleehughes.com. If you want to chat, hit me up on Instagram, ryanleehughes_. And if you want to watch me be stupid, you can follow my TikTok, which is Asmodius. But Yeah.
Awesome.
That's so fun.
Cool. Awesome. So everybody make sure you go check him out. And Ryan, if you have any friends, or if anybody watching has any friends, or if you are a creative who would like to be interviewed for this series, please be sure to hit me up. You can send me an email directly at erica@sadacollective.com. We also have a Typeform link. I have to double check if it's in the bio. If not, I'll stick it in there on our Instagram. So go ahead and click on that. Right now is a really good time because I've been like personally going through and like hand selecting our next interviewees and stuff. So I would definitely get that in sooner than later because I'm definitely in the process of checking those all out, and I'm really proactive on that right now. So yeah, everyone get that submitted. And other than that, thank you all for watching, and thank you, Ryan, again for joining. And I look forward to doing another episode very soon. So I'll talk to you all.